Hello, Saline, and welcome to this new episode of Talk with the Town, Saline High School's official podcast. I'm your host, Cody Stedman, and today we talk to the teacher advisor of the Salinian Yearbook. It's April 24th, 2024. Now, let's talk local. Today we are here with Mr. Jamie Volrath of Saline High School, the teacher advisor of the Salinian Yearbook. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be a part of a real podcast. Thanks for letting me be the representative from the Yearbook group.
All right. Thank you so much. So just to get started off, what is your current job here at the high school?
Well, I'm a teacher. I teach English and history. So specifically, that's film as literature, AP US history, and then I'm also the yearbook advisor.
All right. So how did you become the teacher advisor of this class?
That's a good question because my background is not in yearbook. So my degree is in English and history. I think it goes back to COVID. So COVID gave teachers, I think, time to kind of step back and look at their schedules and think about what they want to teach. Mrs. Chris Trainer had been the yearbook advisor for 15 years at that point, and right around COVID, she felt like she wanted to try some other things. And I had been teaching a class at that time, probably for the past 5 or so years, called English 10 Zines, which is sort of like yearbook in a way, in the sense that we made and published little pamphlets once every trimester and distributed them to the student body about just a whole range of different topics. So even though it didn't require really any technology or photography or formal journalism, some people thought that I might be interested in taking on the class. And after some quick thinking, I decided I was.
So when was the Salinian Yearbook first published?
So I love this question. I had to go back and try to ask people, do a little digging, and I was in the yearbook room this morning looking through our old stacks of yearbooks that go back quite a long ways, and I found a single copy of the very first published yearbook, which they called a yearly book in Saline history, 1925. So it's called The Mirror, and that means next year's yearbook will be the 100th anniversary of Saline High School's very first yearbook. So that's pretty cool. It makes me excited already for that.
That actually sounds surprising as it is. Actually, let's get more on the topic of this year's yearbook. Yep. How is that going out so far?
I think it's going to be, it's already going great. I think the students are going to be really proud and excited by what they see in the third week of May when we distribute those. We've been working on it since last spring, so the spring of 2023. A lot of effort has gone into the artistic design of it, and that started happening, like I said, from early spring and into the summer. And we have a lot of staff out there taking great photographs, conducting really good interviews, and writing good copy. And of course, we're trying to get as many people represented in the yearbook as possible, as we do every year. So I think everybody's going to love it. See how it goes.
What is your favorite part about teaching this course?
It puts all of us in a little bit of a different position. It's not a traditional class. The thing I love to see in the students more than anything in this class is them taking ownership. You called me a teacher, you called me advisor, but at the beginning of the year, I tell the class that I really feel like a project manager. It's the students who run the show, in all honesty. So there are about 7 to 9 student editors every year, and they're in charge of parts of the staff, and the staff and the editors together build the content. My job is just to make sure everything runs smoothly. We're doing everything we need to make sure everybody's trained in, and to meet often with editors and smaller sections of the staff to make sure we're getting everything done and meeting our deadlines, of course. So it's really cool for me. I don't have to get up in front of the classroom every day and lecture or go through a traditional lesson. There's a little bit of that in the beginning of the year when we're training, but most of the year it's you step into the yearbook room at the beginning of the period and everybody is already off and doing things like getting interviews and writing copy and checking out cameras for coverage of the basketball game later that night. So it's really cool just to be around that energy and to see the students really take charge. That's my favorite part.
Do you mind if you mention a few students who have taken the charge in this course?
So one student who has really kind of kickstarted my interest in photography, I've got a couple actually. So Gabe Lindemann, who is this year's editor-in-chief, came into the course halfway through my first year of teaching yearbook and came in as a pretty well-rounded, accomplished photographer already, right? Definitely on his career path towards being a photographer, and just really helped me understand photography much better and inspired me to go out and take some classes outside of the school on photography. And now it's become a hobby of mine as well. So love that. Phoebe Huddleston, who also has her own photography business on the side, is somebody who has also inspired me in that way.
What are you looking for students that want to take this course in the 24-25 school year?
Yeah, I'm just looking for people who are excited and are willing to work hard. I wouldn't say there's a lot of homework in a course like this, again, because it's not traditional. It might even feel more like a job. So you have to be okay being here. So attendance would be a big one. You need to be here, need to be willing to engage. You need to be willing to be part of a team and understand that you're holding up your end of the bargain. And it's not like being in a traditional class where, if you don't write this essay, you don't write this essay, and that's, you move on. But in this class, if you don't write that copy, somebody's got to do it because we have to publish it in the yearbook. So if you're excited about just being part of a close-knit community that gets a little weird and a little crazy at times, then I think you're going to love being part of this class. Sometimes people get turned off, or maybe they think, well, I'm not going to sign up for yearbook because I don't have any photography experience. That's probably the biggest one. You do not have to have any photography experience at all. Everybody who comes into the class, I assume, has never even picked up a camera before. So it's okay to start at that level. You will learn a lot throughout the course of the year through our trainings, but also working with other students in the class who have been doing it longer. So when you get out of the class, one of the things that you can carry with you your entire life is the ability to use a DSLR camera on manual mode, not just point and shoot. And I think that's really cool for everybody.
And now we've discussed about that. Can we talk about what kind of credits are offered through this program?
Yep. So it depends on the grade level. We're open to 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. I know it's a little more difficult to schedule this class as a 9th or 10th grader because of credits and things like that you need for graduation. If you take it your junior year, it can count as your junior English requirement. That means, for instance, you wouldn't have to take American literature if you're taking yearbook. However, I have had staff members who take both because they want to. I've had staff members who take yearbook and AP Lang at the same time. So it's whatever you'd like to do. It also counts towards English elective credits if you don't need it for your junior English credit. And you also have a chance to earn fine arts and tech credits as well.
So what are some of the specifics in this program? Because you already mentioned how we do some copywriting, doing some normal writing as well with photography, but what else can you do in this course?
So you're going to get some experience on the business side of things too. The first trimester is a crucial trimester. We spend the first 6 weeks or so training in on everything yearbook, and but we've been throwing around the word copy. Copy is just a journalistic term for an article, let's say, or longer form writing. So everybody has to sort of get trained in on how to write for the yearbook, how to write captions, how to write headlines, how to do interviews, and in photography, as we mentioned. But part of what we do in that first trimester that is so crucial is we have to support ourselves, and we have to do the best we can to keep the cost of this book as low as possible. And it makes everybody sort of blink and do a double take when they see the cost of the yearbook, and I totally get that. The cost to produce this yearbook at the current time is about $120,000. So between the money we get from students buying their yearbooks, the money we get for senior grad ads, we still have to make up some difference there. So the students in this class go out and solicit sponsorships from local businesses, even distant businesses. If some of the students have family members who are living outside of this area, that's totally fine. We're looking for local businesses to support our production of this yearbook and to keep the cost as low as possible for purchasers. So in the first trimester, just the first trimester, students they get some release time to leave the school and go out and interact with local businesses to try to get sponsorships.
So I'm sure there's been some mistakes with some past yearbooks, and there's always some times where you might think, oh, if I join the course, I have to be perfect at writing the entire time. What would be your take on that?
Someone told me that there's no such thing as a perfect yearbook, or the only perfect yearbook is a blank yearbook with just a cover on it, which means that there are going to be mistakes, period. Even though we have copy editors and we have section editors and we have an advisor who looks over every single thing in the book, there will be errors. There just will be. We have a staff of about 24 people right now, and amongst the 25 of us, there's no way we know every single person in the school or how to spell their name. We are working to do the best we can always. But this is a student publication. It's a part of a course. It represents learning on the part of the staff and me, the advisor, as well. To expect perfection is maybe okay on our part to drive us towards that aim, but we will probably never reach that point. It will never be perfect. In fact, the yearbooks who win the highest awards across the country every year are not perfect. So I can preemptively apologize every year for the few mistakes that will be in there, but just know that we are working really hard to avoid any and all mistakes. And as somebody coming into this class, as a writer in particular, because people find it really easy to criticize themselves about their writing, again, the expectation is you're not perfect. It's a process. This is why we have a process of revision and editing with our copy editors. By the time your writing gets to the point where it gets sent into Jostens to be printed, it's going to be as perfect as we can make it together. So it's not just on the student writer, it's on the entire staff that's looking over that writing too.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the basic details that newcomers or new students might want to know about what this course would be like new hour or whatever lunch it might be?
Sure.
Or what? Really anything else?
Yeah, yearbook is always during fourth period so that we have access to all three lunches for finding people to do interviews with. We usually take C lunch, although oftentimes, sometimes we'll have to switch our lunch so that you can do an interview during C lunch. Then obviously you can take B lunch. So there's some flexibility. Fourth period gives us a lot of flexibility. Also, it's a 3-trimester class. If your schedule as a student who's interested in yearbook doesn't necessarily allow 3 periods or 3 trimesters, I'm sorry, you can talk to me, and it's possible we could work something out. The size of the staff, I never want to have a small staff again, like 13 people. That's much too small. On the other hand, a staff of 30 is way too big, so we have to find that happy medium. And of course, I'm always available in my regular classroom, 131, or if you want to pop it, start over. I'm always available in my regular classroom, 147. If you want to stop into the yearbook room during fourth period, room 131, just to take it all in, you are welcome to, and I'm always happy to answer your questions in person or over email if you have interest in the course at all.
Is there anything else you would like to add on for the questions that I've asked you today, or anything else?
I just think since COVID, we have really, gone from a staff of 13 up to a really great staff of 25, and we continue adding to our cameras. We continue adding to our collective know-how. Our book is getting better and better, and I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to the people who want to join that effort next year.
Thank you so much for joining again, Mr. Volrath, for this wonderful experience that you have shared with us and many of the viewers who watch around Saline High School. And we ask you to make sure to check out the rest of our episodes when they come out on the Saline Video YouTube channel under the Talk of the Town playlist. I'm your host, Cody Stedman.
I'm Mr. Jamie Volrath.
And like always, we'll talk to you soon. This episode of Talk of the Town was brought to you by Saline Video, with special thanks to our guest, Mr. Jamie Volrath. If you would like to help produce an episode of Talk of the Town, you can talk to Mr. Bush in room C244 or send him an email. Reporting for Talk of the Town, I'm Cody Stedman. We'll talk to you soon.